What's going on YouTube? I'm Darren the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I cover primarily fragrances on this channel, but I want some style and fashion tips in there as well. I believe if you're going to smell good, that you need to look good as well. So that's what I talk about and cover on the channel. So if you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon as well. So that way, anytime a new video is uploaded, you'll be one of the first people to get notified. Guys, on today's video, I'm going to be talking about some masterpieces, designer fragrances that I consider 10 out of 10 masterpiece fragrances. Now, I think we all can agree that a lot of the designer fragrances over the last 3 years that have been released, most of them have left, let's just say, a lot to be desired. All right, it's not that they are trash from the standpoint that they don't smell good. I don't think many companies would put out something that they didn't think would smell good to most people, and a lot of these smell good, but they are very lazy, very redundant, reinterpretations, if you will, of a fragrance that they've already released, and they're bringing them in back to back to back. In my humble opinion, they're cash grabs. So it makes me yearn for fragrances that had some originality to them, that were unique, and that were also great fragrances that smell great and actually performed as well. So I'm going to harken back to some of those fragrances, because when I go back and smell these fragrances, they make me feel good. It reminds me of what designer fragrances can be, and more importantly, what they used to be. So I have 10 great ones in my humble opinion. These are 10 of the best designer fragrances ever created. So just want to kind of go back and touch on these fragrances and kind of talk about them. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump into it, man. Not about really as much about getting in the notes and stuff like that. Just want to kind of show you these fragrances. Most of them you've probably heard of, but it's good to, when you feel this way, to go back down memory lane and smell some great ones. The first one up, as I've coined this and deemed this the best designer fragrance, date night fragrance on the planet. From the brand of Dolce & Gabbana, this is the one Oda Parfum. The one Oda Parfum. And although when this fragrance came out, a lot of people loved the way that it smells, but some people didn't like the performance on this fragrance. But I'm sure most of us will trade this 4 or 5 hours of performance any day, and when you compare it to a lot of this redundant stuff that's been coming out over the last couple of years. But this, at its core, this fragrance is about orange blossom, tobacco, and amber. Man, so many great memories with this fragrance. Easily a 10 out of 10. Although in some people's opinion, it lacks a little bit in the performance category, but as I always say, it's the best date night fragrance on the planet. And 4 hours of performance, 4 or 5 hours is great for a date night. Guys, seriously, 10 out of 10 masterpiece of a designer fragrance. If you don't have the one Eau de Parfum, still get it in your collection now. An easy 10 out of 10 masterpiece designer fragrance. The next one is the designer fragrance that I've always talked about on the channel, and it'll be no surprise to you guys that I have this as one of my 10 out of 10 masterpiece designer fragrances. This is Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Now this is my second bottle, and it's all the way down the hill already. All right, love this fragrance, always gonna be in the collection, man. This is a sweet fragrance. It has a coffee accord in here, which is an Indian dessert, and it kind of smells like pistachio. All right, so it's a little bit nutty. It's creamy. You have some vanilla, sandalwood, and tonka bean to really round out that sweet creaminess. This is so good, man. It kind of hints in that gourmand territory to me. This stuff is just an absolute standout of a fragrance. You don't smell anything like this anymore, man. And that's kind of sort of, to me, what makes these fragrances so great. They have some originality to them. They were unique, and they smell great. So easily a 10 out of 10. Without question, this is a masterpiece from Tom Ford, man. Get your nose on Noir Extreme. All right, guys, the next fragrance that is an easy 10 out of 10 from the brand of Christian Dior. This is Dior Own Perform. Dior Own Perform. Now, this whole Dior line is really at its core about a powdery note of iris. All right, iris is a floral note, but it comes off really powdery. You had the original Dior Homme. You had the Dior Own Sport, which my favorite was a version was created prior to 2017. Then you have Dior Own Intense, and then you have Dior Own Parfum. Honestly, any of those could have made this list, to be quite honest with you, but Dior Own Parfum is so unique because it adds that amped up leather accord to all that powdery iris that people really come to love about this fragrance. So in my humble opinion, this is easily a 10 out of 10. And to me, that amped up leather accord just really takes this scent DNA to another level. This is so good, guys. And again, doesn't smell like anything else on the market nowadays, you know? But anyway, 10 out of 10, easily in my book, from the brand of Christian Dior, Dior Own Parfum. The next fragrance that I give an easy 10 out of 10 in the masterpiece title to is one created by the brand of Paco Rabanne. This is 1 Million Privé. 1 Million Privé, and this is really blood orange, tobacco, cinnamon, myrrh, and tonka bean. And to me, as I always describe this fragrance so that you can get a reference, it smells like apple pie in a bottle. And there's some great niche fragrances that kind of have a similar DNA, like Waja from Parfums de Marley, Ombre Narguilé from Hermes. But if you talk about designer fragrances, you talk about well done, masterpiece kind of sense, this fragrance always comes to mind. It's been discontinued, but you can still find it on the market at a decent price. So before it gets too crazy, guys, sincerely, add this to your collection, man. From the brand of Paco Rabanne, this is 1 Million Privé. The best designer tobacco fragrance ever created on the planet. This is my favorite designer fragrance on the planet. From the brand of Mugler, this is purehavane. I have a backup bottle to this, and I'm going to always cherish this fragrance. You guys that have been following me know how much I love this fragrance. I've talked about it before. Like I said, this is my favorite designer fragrance of all time. It's about the tobacco, but it also has honey in here as well. And there's this note that people say that kind of smells like cherry. Of course, you get that kind of cherry liqueur, cherry vibe in here as well with the hookah tobacco smell and the honey. This is, I can't tell you guys how much I love this fragrance. I can tell you how good to me this fragrance is. There'll probably be nothing ever created on the designer side of things that will smell anything like this. All of those fragrances for this as well, Pure Malt could have been on this list. I may do a part 2. But man, this is so good, man. You just gotta check it out. From the brand of Mugler, this is purehavane. All right, guys, I'm not gonna knock this fragrance. I gotta give it its props, man. From the brand of Christian Dior, this is Dior Sauvage Parfum. Dior Sauvage Parfum. Now, I chose this fragrance in this iteration of the fragrance because to me, it is the most mature. The original Dior Sauvage and Dior Sauvage Oda Parfum, I do love those fragrances and I give them props for what they did. This fragrance and Bleu de Chanel kind of changed the whole landscape of designer fragrances, and everybody started making their kind of interpretation or version of this, their blue fragrance, okay? The original Dior Sauvage kind of has that shower thing that people, shower gel thing people talk about, but they made this one a little bit more mature. They added some orbanum in here. They kind of amped up that tonka bean vanilla on the dry down as well. So this is my favorite version of Dior Sauvage, and I won't knock it for its popularity. This is still one of the best designer fragrances ever created, especially this version, the Parfum version. From the brand of Christian Dior, this is Dior Sauvage Parfum. Perfect fragrance to follow up behind Dior Sauvage Parfum from the brand of Chanel. This is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. And just like I talked about with Dior Sauvage, this is the more mature version of Bleu de Chanel. The EDT is good, the Eau de Parfum is great, but this one is the best. You still have all the beautiful citrus notes up top that you have with the original, as well as the EDP. But like I said, they toned the citruses down a little bit in this one, amped up the woods, which made it a little bit more of a masculine, more mature scent profile. Easily a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, in my humble opinion. I won't knock if you had the EDT or the EDP of this or Sauvage, but to me, the Parfum versions are the more mature iterations of those fragrances, so they made my list. From the brand of Chanel, this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. As I always say, what happens when you take the most popular men's fragrance of all time and add some incense and patchouli, you get the best men's fragrance of all time, or one of the best. From the brand of Giorgio Armani, this is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. Guys, that patchouli, instance that they put in here just sincerely took this fragrance DNA and skyrocketed it. The original was so popular for a reason. It's just very mass appealing. It smells great, an aquatic fragrance. But again, you add a little bit of a smokiness to it, a little bit of an incensey vibe to it, and a little bit of an earthy patchouli. And it just really smooths it out, rounds it out, and makes it even more wearable and even more mass appealing, in my humble opinion. This thing smells fantastic. The quality is there. The scent profile is there. Everything that you need in a designer fragrance is in this bottle. Masterpiece from the brand of Giorgio Armani. This is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. This is another fragrance that was a game changer, man. When the whole blue craze was going on, around 2016, 17, somewhere around at 17, maybe 18, this fragrance came onto the scene from Replica by the Fireplace. And it kind of redirected people's attention for a while. Smoky, chestnuts. The smokiness kind of comes from that Peru balsam in there. You have the chestnut accord. This thing is just absolutely fantastic. And as the name indicates, it smells just like you are sitting by a fireplace, as the name indicates. And the way that they were able to capture that in a bottle, to me, is always, it blows my mind. But this is easily a 10 out of 10 fragrance in most people's humble opinion, and in mine as well. I share in that sentiment. From the brand of Maison Margiela, this is By the Fireplace. And guys, the last fragrance on this particular video, an easy 10 out of 10 masterpiece to me from the brand of Prada Luna Rossa Black. Prada Luna Rossa Black. This is Angelica. This is Patchouli. This is Musk and Amber. It smells heavenly. That's really all I could say. There's so many good fragrances from the Prada Luna Rossa line. You had Carbon, which kind of smells like Dior Sauvage. I love Prada Luna Rossa Sport. It's one of my more casual go-to fragrances. Ocean, Prada Luna Rossa Ocean is great as well, but man, this one was the game changer. A nice, sweet, kind of powdery amber fragrance. Low-key, one of the best fragrances from that line. And again, in my opinion, a masterpiece of a designer fragrance, man. So get it in your life. It's still out there on the market. You can still pick this one up, and I would highly recommend you do so. From the brand of Prada Luna Rossa Black. But that's all I have for you guys today, man. Just a little bit of nostalgia. I want to take a trip down memory lane and remind me of what great designer fragrances are and can be. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.